Morning, everybody. This is Teacher Renfrew on location in, on a little bluff overlooking the Bolsa Chica wetlands. This is just a practice to sort of try this out, see if it works. Hopefully, I was supposed to have somebody come and video me today, but that somebody didn't manage to get out of bed this morning. So I'm out here using myself as an aid. So behind me is the wetlands. I don't know how much you can see. I'm going to pick up the camera in a minute and point it up there directly for you, but I want you to know for sure that I'm actually out here. It's actually me. Got some wild mustard growing here beside me, and also some native sunflower related Encilia californica over there. But here we are. I'm at the end of Garfield and at Seacliff and Garfield intersection, overlooking where oil production is still going on in the back end of the wetlands. This is the southernmost end of the wetland habitat here at Bolsa Chica. So you can still see, I'll hold the camera up in a minute, you can see all the production still going on, but most of it has been removed since before 2006. So let's take a look. Oops. Okay, so a little glitch there. So here you can see the wetlands. I'm looking from the south end, from where I said the end of Garfield Avenue at Seacliff, looking northward towards Long Beach in the distance. It's kind of hazy out that direction right now, so I don't know how much you can see. You can actually see the city of Long Beach out there, and you can see the shipyards and the giant cranes out there that they use to unload and load the ships. But closer up, right in front of us, are the the wetlands are subject of this project right here, and I'm showing you right now the parts that are still under oil production. There's still, you can see how the area is divided by service roads for the equipment. And we had some Canadian geese fly by there. So all of this still under production. There's still, even so, there's a lot more water out there than there was 20 years ago. If you would have been looking at this same scene 20 years ago, it was almost completely dry, and there would be a lot more oil production going on, a lot more vehicles out there all over the place. And here we go, swing full around, and there's the wild mustard. So beautiful and so pervasive everywhere. This is a plant that's an invasive species from southern Europe, brought over with the white European settlers when they came over. I don't know if they were all white, but whatever. Anyway, and then swinging around, pointing more towards the west, and there's a nice big native spruce shrub right there. And coming over here, and there's the beautiful local perennial species. This is, I believe, Encilia californica, a member of the sunflower family, obviously. Swing back around there, Seacliff Drive right there, and all the homes that I wish I could afford. And then out there in the distance on the bluff, overlooking the ocean and the wetlands. Talk about prime location, especially for somebody who likes natural environments. I wouldn't know who that is. And the ocean out there beyond. Can we see the ocean? It's real hazy out over the water as well, but you can see a bunch of cargo ships out there. Sorry, I'm not very experienced at doing video, so too bad. That's how it goes. And so anyway, this is just one viewpoint. And like I said, back over here to the right of this drilling equipment here, I'm not sure if they're drilling or capping a well there. I know they use a rig like that to actually cap wells. They don't really plug them. They don't permanently plug them. They put piping all the way down, and sometimes that's quite a ways down into the ground, thousands of feet. but they put piping in it and then they cap the pipe in case they ever are desperate enough to want to go back and reopen a well that was mostly used up, but still might have some usefulness when times get tough. If you could see in the distance out there would be the San Gabriel Mountains. I can see some low profile hills in the distance, which from this angle I'm not sure what we're looking at, but probably the Whittier Hills area, but it's super hazy. So anyway, this is one view. I'm going to be moving on to other parts. I'm just giving you the setting today, and like I said, just a little bit of practice. There's a nice example of what could be a native palm. Washingtonia foliifera would be its name if it's the California species with the Washington name. But it's just as likely that it's the Mexican version, which is Washingtonia robusta, which was planted all over California quite some time ago, 50 to 70 years ago, because, well, it's more robust, hence its name robusta. And I kind of drifted off. There we are. I'm talking and looking around. Okay, so I'm going to pause this and then I'm going to go to another viewpoint. I'm going to go, well, I'm going to pan back around again. I'm going to go back over in this direction, come in from Graham Street to the back of the wetlands over there. So there's two more entrances back there. If you look out in the distance straight ahead, you see a low bluff, and there's a housing development on that. That's one of the newest housing developments anywhere near the wetlands, and that was a very controversial project you would see in the timeline. And then way out there in the distance would be the Warner intersection with PCH, and that's where the visitor center is, and that's where we would normally come in on a walking tour of the wetlands. It's out that direction, but where we're going to sneak in is over there someplace, coming down to the end of Graham Street, and then there's another entry on this near end of that bluff where Bolsa Chica dead ends into the wetlands. One thing back over there, past the crane again. Where'd that crane go? There it is. To the right in the view of that is where the creek, the freshwater creek that used to flow into here, it still sort of kind of does, and it was called Freeman Creek, and that's where it came in. And also back there, you can't really tell from here, is where the East Garden Grove Wintersburg Channel flows in. Actually, I should have videoed that. It goes within a short walk of my house. It starts way up in, well, it's called East Garden Grove, so way up that direction and flows all the way down here. And it's one of the main channels entering the Bolsa Chica. But before that channel was dredged to drain that part of Orange County so we could build on it and farm on it, you know, that water just kind of stayed up there, and the main stream that flowed into here would have been Freeman Creek. Okay, more later. Well, here I am again, but this is a different location. This is not where I was headed, and then I saw this on the way, and I'm just like, oh yeah, this is actually part. Okay, so the wind blew my phone over. This is actually part of Central Park in Huntington Beach, and there's a little lake behind me. And you might say, well, why is there a lake here, and what does that have to do with this project? And I believe that this is actually the site for where Freeman Creek used to flow back in the day before the city was built up around it. This was its pathway. And a lot of times that's what you do with wetlands, is you turn them into parks because they have flood risk, and the lake will get deeper, and you can see the built up riprap over here in case of that event. So this is just this area where the original Freeman Creek would have flowed from inland towards the wetland and supplying a fresh water source for what is actually an estuary, which is only one type of wetland. Hang on, I'm just going to turn this around. Well, here we are again. I was on my way to my next stop and found another place to stop. This is actually the East Garden Grove Wintersburg Channel that I spoke about earlier, and this little noisier location. I got Warner Avenue right behind me, and I'm just west of Springdale Street, so it's kind of a busy area even during a stay-at-home order, which you notice I'm dutifully obeying. But you know, water's low here. You can see there's a mud flat over there. This area is actually influenced by the tide. It's not that far from the wetlands, and when the tide is high, the water actually going to flow inland rather than the other direction. But this is the channel that was at least deepened if it wasn't ever a natural creek. Of course, there's beautiful Warner Avenue with the traffic coming along. So this is a very, and it curves around. Back there you can see the channel curving around. And that's where it's going to go over and go past Marina High School in a little bit. So anyway, this is one of the sources of fresh water into the Bolsa Chica estuary, which is a type of wetland it is. And like I said, we do experience tidal flow coming the other direction when the tide is high. Okay, so one of these days I'm actually going to get to my destination. Let me try again. Okay, so this is the little lake that I was showing. Hopefully that got caught on video. We got tule reeds down here in the front. There were some ducks and coots. There's a little coot, which is a type of, well, it's related to ducks down there. You can see a little white-billed critter down there. Real common freshwater habitat species. But this lake is, and there's the home that I always wished I had. That one, or the one next door, you know, is actually better. But because look where it is. It's right here on the lake, on Central Park in Huntington Beach. I mean, you know, it's kind of okay. But anyway, these are tules. They're a freshwater emergent type of plant species. They're found anywhere where you have freshwater habitat in the lake. And this is the location where I believe that Freeman Creek would have flowed through from inland and eventually joins the flatlands adjacent to the ocean down there, which is the Bolsa Chica wetland habitat. And where I am right now, I'm on the northern end of the park. Just off behind those trees out there is Edwards Avenue at about Talbert. Now this is where Talbert, you know, if you've driven Talbert, it goes through it goes basically past the Central Library, Huntington Beach Central Library, and then it would come out here. It continues on the other side of those trees over there, but that's also where the stream would have flowed into the southeast end of the Bolsa Chica wetlands.